DDR stands for double data rate. In simple terms, it means RAM can send and receive data twice per clock cycle instead of once. That's it. You don't need to worry about the math. Just know that DDR RAM is designed to move data faster. Now here's the key idea to keep in mind for the whole video. Every new DDR generation is about doing the same job faster, more efficiently, and with less power. Think of DDR versions like car models. Same purpose, transportation. Newer models are smoother, faster, and more fuel efficient. You don't need the newest one to drive, but improvements add up. Watch this. Imagine RAM as a desk you work on. A small desk equals fewer things open at once. A bigger, faster desk equals smoother multitasking. DDR generations don't just change desk size, they change how fast you can move things on the desk, how efficiently the desk uses energy, how stable everything feels when you're busy. With that in mind, let's go through every DDR generation simply. DDR1, the beginning very old. Time period, early 2000s. Status today, completely obsolete. DDR1 was the first widely used DDR memory. It doubled the speed of traditional SDRAM by transferring data on both the rising and falling edges of the clock signal. Compared to what came before it, DDR1 was faster, used less power, allowed better multitasking for its time, but by today's standards, it's extremely slow, supports very small memory sizes, can't run modern software at all. You will never see DDR1 in a modern computer. It's here only for historical context. DDR2, a small step forward. Time period, mid-2000s. Status today, obsolete. DDR2 improved on DDR1 by running at higher speeds, being more stable, using power a bit more efficiently. However, it also had higher latency and still couldn't handle modern workloads. DDR2 computers struggle even with basic web browsing today. Again, this is legacy tech, not something you should buy or upgrade to. DDR3, the first modern-feeling RAM. Time period, around 2010 to 2016. Status today, aging, but still usable in older systems. DDR3 was a big deal. It runs at lower power than DDR2, about 1.5 volts, sometimes even 1.35 for low-voltage versions. Speeds typically 1066 to 2133 MT/s. That's the real data rate. Think of it as trips per second the memory makes. This is where RAM started to feel smooth, responsive, capable of real multitasking. With DDR3, you could browse with multiple tabs, stream video, use Office apps comfortably. Many older laptops still run 8 gigabytes or 16 gigabytes of DDR3, and for light tasks, that's okay. But today, DDR3 is slower than modern standards and limited. Max stick size around 16 gigabytes. It uses more power, and new CPUs no longer support it. DDR3 works only if your system already uses it. You can't mix DDR3 with newer generations. DDR4, the sweet spot for most people. Time period, 2016, early 2020s. Status today, very common, very capable. DDR4 is what most people still use today. Lower power again, 1.2 volts. So less heat and better battery life on laptops. Much higher speeds, usually 2133 to 3200 MT/s standard, and overclocked ones go higher. Bigger sticks possible, up to 32 gigabytes or even 64 gigabytes per stick in some cases. This is where RAM became much faster, more energy efficient, better at handling multitasking. With DDR4, 8 gigabytes feels usable. 16 gigabytes feels smooth. 32 gigabytes is great for heavy work. It's perfect for students, office work, browsing with many tabs, light photo and video editing, gaming. DDR4 is stable, affordable, and well-supported. If you're buying a budget or mid-range system today, DDR4 is still a solid choice. DDR5, the new generation. Time period, 2021, present. Status today, new, fast, and growing. DDR5 is the latest generation, even lower power, 1.1 volts, and the power management chip is actually on the RAM stick itself, smarter and cooler, starts way faster, 4,800 metric tons per second minimum, and common kits go 6,000, 8,000 plus MT/S. Huge capacity jumps, sticks up to 128 gigabytes or more possible, great for heavy multitasking, video editing, AI stuff, or future-proofing. It splits the connection into 2 smaller channels per stick, so it handles requests more efficiently, like having 2 lanes instead of 1 on a highway. It introduces real changes. What DDR5 improves: much higher speeds, better power efficiency, handles multitasking more smoothly, designed for future software demands. DDR5 also shifts some power management onto the RAM itself, which improves stability and efficiency. However, DDR5 is more expensive. Not all software benefits yet. You need a compatible motherboard and CPU. Important rule: you can't mix DDR generations. This is critical. DDR3 is not equal to DDR4, is not equal to DDR5. They have different physical slots, different electrical requirements. You cannot put DDR4 into a DDR5 system. Mix DDR3 and DDR4 together. Your computer supports one DDR generation only. Always check your motherboard or your laptop specs. Let's clear up some common misconceptions about DDRs. The first one, most people believe, higher DDR number means everything is faster. But the truth is, not always. CPU, storage, and software also matter. More RAM fixes every slow computer. Which is not true, because if storage is slow or the CPU is weak, RAM won't save it. DDR5 is mandatory now. Not true. DDR4 is still excellent for most people. Let's wrap it up. DDR equals how your RAM generation is designed. Each generation improves speed, efficiency, and stability. Older DDR versions are obsolete. DDR4 is the current sweet spot. DDR5 is the future, but not required for everyone. Here is my recommendation for choosing the right DDR RAM. Choose RAM based on what you actually do, not just the newest number. Scenario 1, for everyday user: web browsing, YouTube, school or office work. DDR4, 8 to 16 gigabytes is perfect. Scenario 2, heavy multitasker, many browser tabs, editing photos or videos, coding or creative work. DDR4, 16 to 32 gigabytes, or DDR5, 16 GB plus. Scenario 3, buying a new system for the future. You want longevity. You don't upgrade often. DDR5 if your budget allows. With that being said, see you on the next one.